Have you ever wondered what is really written in the Dead Sea Scrolls? These documents, discovered almost by chance in the Qumran caves, contain words that defy time and reveal hidden secrets from a mysterious past. There are those who say that these manuscripts contain truths capable of transforming the way we see the world, and even more so, the way we understand ourselves. But why, after all, are these ancient texts so important? And what can they teach us? Imagine secrets preserved for centuries, written with a purpose that transcends the ordinary. Between apocalypses, visions of a heavenly city, and even the prophecy of two messiahs, the Dead Sea Scrolls promise answers that could change everything. There is something intriguing about each fragment, as if each piece of parchment tells a story waiting to be deciphered by those who dare to see beyond the surfaces. These texts contain more than records. They offer insight into life, faith, and the eternal struggle for good. And now, together, let's dive into this discovery that could be as transformative as it is fascinating. But be careful. Once you start to unlock these secrets, it's hard to ignore what they have to say. Imagine, in the mid-1940s, in the Judean desert, some Bedouin shepherds stumbled upon one of the greatest archaeological finds in history, the Dead Sea Scrolls. There, among the caves of Qumran, were hidden texts that would challenge biblical and historical knowledge. Among ancient manuscripts, fragments of Hebrew texts were found, such as the famous book of Isaiah, dating back to 250 BC. The discovery brought a new perspective on the origin and interpretation of these sacred texts, and the hidden secret of these parchments has fascinated scholars to around the world. These manuscripts, preserved for centuries in dry caves, have survived time and oblivion. Among them are not just words, are deep beliefs of a people who saw writing as a way of eternalizing their faith. The Dead Sea Scrolls are more than historical fragments. They are a portal into the thinking of an era, a lens into how ancient communities viewed the world, the divine, and the purpose of life. Try to imagine the emotion of holding in your hands something that had long been destined for the silence of the caves. Feeling the connection with these manuscripts is like unlocking a hidden secret of the times. The importance of these documents transcends their age. Because they are ancient copies of religious texts, they offer a unique chance of comparison with current versions of the Bible. When researchers compared these manuscripts with modern versions, they saw that, although there were small variations, the essence of the text remained faithful. It is a testimony that words hold a strength of their own, one that crosses time and resists change. This detail offers a powerful perspective on how oral and written transmission preserve these secrets. In addition to their religious value, the Dead Sea Scrolls reveal a rich cultural and social web. They show the rituals, beliefs, and hopes of a society that sought to maintain its identity amid constant challenges and threats. The manuscripts record everything from rules of conduct to apocalyptic visions that dictated how the community should prepare for the end of times. This set of ideas shows that those who wrote and preserved these texts not only lived their beliefs, they were preparing for an unknown future full of deep meanings. Given all this, the question remains, why were these manuscripts hidden, as if they were a secret to be revealed at the right time? The answer, perhaps, lies in the following pages, where intriguing apocalypses and prophecies take shape and invite us to discover a little more about what these ancient texts tried to teach us. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, there is a universe of predictions and warnings about the future. Imagine, for example, a devout community living under a strict code of purity and awaiting a great divine judgment. These manuscripts, like a kind of hidden secret, offer a window into the deepest thoughts and apocalyptic expectations of the people of Qumran. For them, the end of times was not a distant possibility, but an imminent certainty, which shaped every aspect of their lives and their daily practices. These apocalyptic texts speak of a monumental event, where good and evil would face each other in a decisive way. A curious detail is that the manuscripts contain teachings on spiritual and ritual purity, instructing the community to prepare for the moment in which they would be judged. Their dedication to purity was such that it included cleansing rituals and specific rules of conduct, all to ensure they were ready to face divine judgment. It is as if they, through the manuscripts, tried to preserve a manual of spiritual preparation for those who wish to follow in their footsteps. This sense of urgency for the end of times gave each community act a clear purpose. From his prayers to the organization of his days, everything was done with the expectation that the apocalypse could come at any moment. They believed that to survive the Great Judgment, it was essential to reach a state of ultimate purity. We can even think of a parallel today. In crisis situations, such as a pandemic, many people return to reflect on their spirituality and their actions. These manuscripts, like a mirror for our times, reveal the profound impact that apocalyptic predictions can have on individuals. The text's focus on preparations for divine judgment also highlights a unique belief in redemption. The expectation of divine intervention meant that each member of the community lived on constant alert, with the hope of being rewarded for their loyalty. The promise of an imminent Savior or Messiah was always present, and these writings inspired unshakable faith in followers. It is almost as if the words in these manuscripts were fuel for perseverance and hope for better days. Thus, the Dead Sea Scrolls not only record beliefs, but present an apocalyptic guide, revealing what those ancient writers believed to be the right way to face the unknown. As we explore more of this fascinating set of manuscripts, we come across a complex structure of spiritual battles and visions of hope that are yet to come. Within the Dead Sea Scrolls, one of the most intriguing texts is the so-called War Scroll. In it, the Qumran community describes an epic battle between the forces of good and evil, where the sons of light prepare to face the sons of darkness. Imagine for a moment the symbolism of these characters. The sons of light representing the community of righteous people, while the sons of darkness symbolize the evil forces that must be defeated. These manuscripts function as a kind of call to spiritual warfare, where victory would be determined by faith and devotion to justice. The preparation for this spiritual battle went far beyond words. The texts provide detailed instructions on how the community should organize and act in the final confrontation. Each member had a clear role, whether on the front line or in the rear, and everyone knew the importance of following divine guidance. It is as if the manuscripts were a strategy guide, directing members to remain vigilant and prepared to combat the forces of darkness. This concept can remind us of how, even today, people seek to protect their values and beliefs in the face of difficulties. The War Scroll also brings a deeply dualistic vision, good and evil coexisting in a constant struggle. For community members, this meant that their daily choices carried weight, influencing their position in this battle between light and dark. This sense of individual responsibility still resonates with our current reality, where every decision, every action can feel like part of a larger struggle to maintain integrity and righteousness in a complex and challenging world. It's a reminder that good and evil are not just concepts, but battles we face within ourselves. This spiritual warfare had a practical function, maintaining the faith and discipline of the group. The expectation of a final clash reinforced the feeling of union and collective responsibility, as if each member were a soldier in the army of light. When we look at these manuscripts, we can feel this force that moved the community to preserve its identity and values, even though they were isolated and at constant risk. And as we read his words, we can even imagine ourselves as part of this battle, reflecting on our own values and the internal battles we fight every day. With the War Scroll, the Dead Sea Scrolls transport us to a setting where faith and struggle are intertwined, where every action has meaning in a bigger picture. And so the story begins to guide us into even deeper writings that hold a unique insight into an ancient and enigmatic prophecy involving two messiahs. Among the most enigmatic secrets of the Dead Sea Scrolls is the prophecy of two messiahs, something that challenges the traditional Jewish view of a single Redeemer. In the text, we find this curious expectation. The first Messiah would be a priestly leader, spiritually guiding the people, while the second Messiah would be a warrior, in charge of redeeming Israel and restoring justice on the physical plane. This vision presents a bold idea that one leader is not enough for complete redemption. An alliance between the sacred and the earthly is necessary. This unique belief has messed with scholars' heads and raises many questions. If the Qumran community believed in two messiahs, then what did they expect from these leaders? The priestly messiah should take care of the soul, rituals, and spiritual connection with the divine, while the warrior messiah would be the one who would fight for the physical freedom of his people. To understand it better, imagine it as two sides of the coin. While one works silently for inner peace, the other acts actively to achieve a fair and safe environment. This division of roles makes us reflect on how we deal with our own challenges. There are times when we need to be peaceful and others when we need to fight for our beliefs. Interestingly, this duality in the manuscripts suggests a complex vision of redemption, where the spiritual and the physical are interdependent. For the Qumran community, the warrior and the priestly messiah did not compete. On the contrary, they completed each other. This detail is fascinating, as it shows that for them, the complete salvation of the people required a comprehensive approach, which encompassed both spiritual protection and physical defense. These days, it's how we see our own goals and achievements. Some require us to delve deeper into our own growth, while others require action and strength. This prophecy of the two messiahs highlights how concerned the community was with purity and justice, seeing both as essential parts of Israel's complete redemption. Perhaps for them, it was impossible to achieve full redemption without both aspects being present. And this opens up space for an important reflection. Do we also need to balance spiritual serenity with action in our lives? The hidden secret that these manuscripts reveal is precisely the balance between these sides. The expectation of these two messiahs raises an irresistible curiosity about what else these ancient manuscripts might contain. As we read further, we are led to explore a utopian vision of hope and perfection, the promise of a new Jerusalem, a place where justice and peace would reign eternally. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, we find a surprisingly detailed vision of a new Jerusalem, a utopian city that, according to the text, would descend from the heavens and shelter the righteous. Imagine a city where peace and justice reign supreme, where there is no room for sin or corruption. This vision was not just a distant ideal. For the Qumran community, it symbolized the hope of a life in full harmony with the divine, a hidden secret that sustained their daily dedication and discipline. This new Jerusalem is portrayed as a place of perfect order, where everything and every person has its rightful place. In the text, it is as if the celestial city was already planned down to the smallest detail, just waiting for the right moment to descend. For the community, this promise of a world without blemish was like a compass that guided its actions. They believed that living according to divine precepts made them worthy of this future city, and this guided everything from their purity rituals to the way they related to each other. It's as if they lived today with their eyes fixed on what was to come. The concept of this idealized Jerusalem not only inspired members to live in purity, but also fueled their desire for a deep connection with God. In their view, this city represented the culmination of an existence in complete communion with the Creator. In today's times, this idea can remind us of our own search for something greater, be it a life goal or an ideal state of mind, that makes us want to evolve and get closer to the best versions of ourselves. Just like the Qumran community, sometimes we are also guided by dreams that go beyond visible reality. The expectation for this new Jerusalem was not a passive hope. On the contrary, the members of Qumran dedicated themselves hard, believing that their daily practices had the power to hasten the arrival of this perfect kingdom. For them, every ritual, every prayer, and every act of kindness were steps toward that heavenly city. It makes us think about our own daily efforts and how much we believe our small actions can create a better future. After all, to this day, visions of utopia are what drive many of our greatest achievements. Thus, by exploring this utopian vision of a perfect Jerusalem, we end the journey through the secrets of the Dead Sea Scrolls. But like all good mysteries, these texts always leave something between the lines, perhaps to encourage us to look beyond the words and discover what else the spiritual future holds for us. And so, after exploring each mystery and insight revealed in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the question remains, How can you apply these discoveries to your own life? These texts challenge us to reflect on our search for meaning, purpose, and faith amidst the chaos of the world. Are you in harmony with the values you believe in as the Qumran community sought in its time? What choices have you made in your battle between good and evil, between the essential and the superfluous? Now, think about how these ancient messages, even centuries later, still speak directly to each of us. Practicing a life of purpose and commitment, or seeking a higher worldview, are steps that can begin right now with you. If this content made sense to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue discovering topics like this. After all, who knows what the next secret will be revealed?